Have you ever felt like your relationship is like an endless game of tug of war? So a quick search on Amazon for marriage self-help books shows 60,000 results. 60,000 different books. And what this tells me is that people really want to know how to make relationships work. And while I can't summarize 60,000 books, and I probably have read 20 of those, I can tell you what I've learned in my 20 years of being a therapist and what I see happening with most couples I work with. So my name is Katie. Please hit subscribe and leave a comment. My previous video was about finding the one, and in this video I'm talking about keeping the one. So I'm going to give you 3 tips for keeping love alive in your relationship. So I want to tell you about a client I have who I've been seeing for about 3 years, off and on, and he came to me last week for a session, and he says that he's feeling really bored in his relationship. He's feeling disconnected from his partner and questioning whether they're really right for each other. And I hear this a lot from people. They're getting more irritated with their partner, they're picking at each other more. And so I said to him, well, why do you even want to be in a relationship? What's the point of being in a relationship if it just feels the way you're telling me? So we started to explore his why of wanting to even be in a relationship. And he goes on to clarify by saying what a lot of clients say. Things like, I want to be emotionally connected to another person that I'm sharing my life with. I want to know there's this one other person out there in this great big world who's got my back and I've got theirs. I want to build a life with somebody. Or they'll say, I know I do better with somebody and somebody else helps hold me accountable. So this is actually the first step to keeping your love alive. It's reminding yourself as to why even do this work in the first place. What's the point? According to Stan Tatkin, who's a prominent relationship expert and an author, he says that humans are fundamentally wired to be social creatures and we fare better in pairs. And one of Tatkin's key ideas is that couples in secure, functioning relationships protect and look out for one another. They act as a team against external challenges, ensuring that each partner feels safe and secure in this world. And he often uses the metaphor of a couple being like 2 people with their backs against each other, looking out for one another in the world. So a long-term healthy relationship offers lots of benefits that can significantly contribute to an individual's overall well-being. It's a testament to the fact that humans are inherently social creatures, and the emotional connectivity plays a pivotal role in our health. So healthy and secure relationships reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, it lowers stress levels, increases immune function, and lots of other health benefits. However, learning how to maintain a healthy, secure marriage or relationship is not something we learned in school. And most of us didn't have good role models as to how to even have a healthy relationship. And if you're queer, did you have role models in the queer community for healthy relationships? Probably not, and I know I didn't. So here we all are, just trying the best we can with very little direction. So with my client that I mentioned earlier, I was able to help him see why investing effort into his relationship is worth it, what to expect in a long-term relationship, and help him to reframe what it takes to have a long-term, secure relationship. So the first step in keeping the love you found is to ask yourself why you want to even do the work, because it's really hard to work on something if you don't know why you're doing it. It's like this with anything that takes effort. We want to know why we're doing it. So the second way to keep the love you've found is to learn how to stay connected. So this is extremely important. One reason that relationships don't work out is that people get lazy in relationships, and there's this slow drift apart over time. It's usually not some major event that causes couples to split. It's usually people getting stuck on autopilot and not paying attention. Then over a long period of time, months and years, couples feel like strangers to each other. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Maintaining a healthy relationship requires continuous effort to to stay connected with your partner. Healthy long-term relationships don't just fall into our lap from the sky. John Gottman, another relationship expert, uses the analogy of an emotional bank account. He says every interaction with your partner can be viewed as either a deposit, which is a positive interaction, or a withdrawal, which is a negative interaction. To ensure that your relationship's emotional bank account remains in the green, consider these tips. So you want to have daily or weekly check-ins where you spend some uninterrupted time getting some updates on your partner's internal world and some of their struggles. So this could be having dinner together on most weeknights, planning a weekly date night. Making a deposit into your relationship means leaning in and listening to them when they tell you something. For example, so let's say if you're on your phone and your partner says, "I heard today that the interest rates are going up again," and you don't respond, you keep looking at your phone, then you've made a withdrawal from the emotional bank account of your marriage. And then if you do this too many times, there will be contempt and resentment building. And you want to respond to anything they say by saying something instead of just carrying on with what you're already doing. For example, this morning my wife was in a hurry to go to work and she couldn't find her car keys and she was frantic. And instead of just continuing with what I was already doing, which would have been pretty easy to do, I stopped and I said, "I'll help you find your keys." And that was me putting intention into my marriage. So get out of your own head and get out of your little world and pay attention to your partner. And you can do it. So, I know if I can do it, you can do it. My third tip to keep your love alive is what John Gottman refers to as creating rituals. And the word rituals does sound boring, and I think he should have given it a different name, but it's probably not what you think it is. It's pretty simple. One ritual is called greetings and partings. Partings. This is when you agree that you're going to make effort to hug or kiss your partner before you part for the day to go to work or wherever it is you go. And when you reunite, you find each other and you give each other a hug or a kiss. Now, some couples naturally do this, but a lot of people don't because we're stuck on autopilot. So some people are hypervigilant after work when they get home, and as soon as they walk into their front door, they go straight to the kitchen to start dinner, or they jump on their laptop to catch up with social media or work, or they look at their phone, but whatever. But really, as soon as you get home, you need to find your partner and greet them. Stop what you're doing, give them some eye contact, hug and kiss them, and acknowledge them. So you also want to create rituals around bedtime as well. Do you cuddle before bed or tell each other good night? And if not, start to consider doing this in order to stay connected. Other rituals can include date nights, planning sex, scheduling sex. It doesn't have to be boring, or planning some vacations together. Imagine a relationship with your partner where you feel like they are present and listening to you, acknowledging you when you speak or need something. They're giving you appreciations. They're kissing you when they get home, and they just seem invested overall in the health of the relationship. Now, that sounds great, right? And if you are doing these three things, then at times when you are in conflict with them, which will happen because all couples do have arguments, you're still going to feel secure in the relationship because your emotional bank account is in the green. Those little withdrawals that happen in conflict won't seem like such a big deal. Here's a point I want to make. Think of your relationship like tending to a garden. You want to put effort each day to make sure it stays healthy. You want to maintain it. You have to water a garden every day. If you ignore a garden for a few days or even a week, it starts to grow weeds and the vegetables start to rot. It starts to stink and get weeds and dry out. And healthy and strong relationships take effort and time. But you can start to build this in your relationship one small action at a time. Thank you for listening. Thanks for your time. I hope this has been helpful. Please subscribe and leave a comment. I'll see you next time.